I'm in infrared. This is crazy. Anyways. We are having a marathon over this weekend in the name of honoring myself and my son, trying to make sure that we are not left on the streets. You're somebody that is being systematically targeted. I've attempted to reach out to so many programs, so many entities, ranging from churches to government funded programs to everything in between that I can think of in Las Vegas, Nevada, and nothing has served. I've even reached out to the shelter in Compton with no response. Yes, correct. This is a shelter that I've reached out to, okay, that we were a part of, that I was in constant communication with and attempted to work with. I reached out to inform them to see if there was anything that could be done, because the resources flopped on us. So I feel like we walked into a trap that was designed to be just that, to have us trapped in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the weather, the conditions, and the fact that they're not really social services driven. They don't really assist people like my son. For them, it's more about containment than it is care to these populations. Um, and I have yet to find much human kindness out here. And in some ways, people are being told to not help me. People are being contacted. They're being told to not assist me and my son. Some are being paid to not do so, told to not do so, lied to so that they wouldn't do so. Okay. And so we'll be in a marathon. I am opening up. If you want to contribute, Zelly is going to be Zelle or Zelly. You'll have to contribute there. And that's going to be through 951-533-2371. I'll end up putting it in description box or comments and stuff like that if that's what you all feel guided to do. And if you want to talk to me, if you want to ask me some questions, for those of you who you're not a part of the bullshit, okay? You don't have an agenda. You don't have to stick up your ass. You're not prejudiced or discriminatory, but you want to talk. And if that is you, okay, you will have the opportunity to go straight to the horse's mouth instead of just dealing with everyone else but me. Okay, if you want to know it, you will have your chance. 951-533-2371. The other number that I've had on here is no longer. That's why I'm sharing the number. And it's the same number that you would Zelle me. That's the most secure route that I have available at this time. Okay, it's through a regular traditional bank. It's the most secure way you can contribute. If you're wanting a service, if you know, no matter how quiet as it is kept, if you know that some of the things that I have said and have shared is truth, and you're wanting, a service pertaining to maybe something similar or whatever it is that you're going through, since you know that the things I've said and shared are true, likewise, this is the time to do it, because I am trying to keep my disabled son off of the streets and from being institutionalized. Okay? All of my efforts have continually been thwarted. And while they were thwarted, I still continued on. Okay? Our situation is being manufactured so that it looks like I am a road runner. So that it looks like I'm someone who is flighty and fickle and always running. That's what this has been. So hoover my life, whatever I do, wherever I go, and as I stabilize, there are energies coming in to start telling people to, out of nowhere, to stop, working with me, building with me, stop assisting me, to withhold, to delay. That's what's been going on. And it's no matter what state. And I've come to accept that no matter where we land, this is what's happening. The reason why I want to get out of Vegas, because it's if there are any sovereigns here, and I'm gonna say if, I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna say if, because again, when I was communicating with the sovereign last night, this is what she said. I said, did you know that this is what would have happened, blah, 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 blah. The sovereigns, blah, blah, because they mentioned some certain sovereigns that are here, is what she said. And she said, I didn't realize that they would be so engulfed in their own survival that they would not pick it up or be able to recognize a single mother and her son drowning in the hornet's nest. Okay. They could care less about my son. In fact, many of them need him to suffer. He's an easy target, just like his entire population. They're easy targets. They're open receivers. And it's easy money for lowlives, for weak witches, wizards, and all that. It's easy money. It's an easy scam for the drug addict that needs their fix. For the kid who wants to get a popsicle and God knows where their parents are. Motherfuckers out here, go do this signal over here and we'll buy you a bag of potato chips. It's just, the parents shit maybe get off. Let me get off that shit. It's disgusting how they're exploiting these children, these people, these populations, because that's essentially, they're exploiting them all. But I am here in the name of preserving me and my son. Our situation is nothing shy of abuse. Our situation is nothing shy of that. This is 100% abuse. Attempt to have me and my son wanderers, vagabonds, so that these narratives can be true and so that people can continue to whatever deals they got going. My son, I don't care if people don't like me. Okay, I don't care. That's the name of life. Okay, it is what it is. We all got our ways and our views and opinions, and okay, it is what it is. People don't like me. They don't like the things I do, the things I say, whatever. They don't agree. They don't like. At the end of the day, all these so-called people walking around the streets of America, walking around here, acting as if they're decent beings, aren't. They'll smile at someone like my son and do a spell right in their face. Yeah. they'll sit there and have a conversation and make a joke and get in his presence to cast a spell on him because of the dizzy, hollow pussy bitch and limp dick nigga. Because they trashy ass told him to. They send Tweedledee and Tweedledummer. Las Vegas, Nevada. These programs don't give you nothing straight. They all tell you you have to get to where they are. All government funded, that you know, the homeless population programs, all this stuff, most of them tell you that you know, if you were to call them, I'm just giving y'all the real now, and let you know somebody who knows somebody, I'm telling you the way it goes. If you call them and you get someone, they're going to give you some standard generalized stuff, but then they're going to say, oh yeah, we can first, yeah, some of them, not all of them. Oh yeah, you know, we can for sure help, you know, yeah, we have this program, yeah, I'm sure there's something that we can do to get you guys, you know, blah, blah, blah. However, I love this part. You do have to be here, you have to get to us, okay? And so that's a part of what we're dealing with. And then, but it's really, truth be told, is no different than even what we were in. When we were in Compton, we got there, it was still under false pretense, and then we were there, and then we, you know, that went the way it went. We worked the best that we could. The communication stopped, the assistance stopped. It becomes a bunch of gaslighting, future faking, and, you know, no follow throughs and all of those things. And then sabotage by way of negligence. I attempted to get a form fax. The only reason I'm sharing this is because I've actually reached back out to this shelter in the name of saying, okay, well, do I want that? No, but at the end of the day, parent, you're like, okay, well, let's get us there, because apparently this shit didn't work. They lied. So, but guess what? No response. Prior to, you know, yeah, I said that, and this is me covering, they like to cover their ass, I'm covering mine. Because everywhere you go, everyone you talk to in all these programs, then they're like, okay, have you attempted to do this? As if you don't go down this list yourself anyway. But anyway, have you, you know, attempted to do this and that? I've done that. Swallowing any kind of semblance of so-called pride, because there's really none that I'm dealing with. It's a matter of what's best for my son and me and what's available. So nobody responded to my communication. But this type of behavior had started before I even left, which is why I even sought any other resource to begin with. So this was Compton. I've called both the contacts that I initially, well, I'm gonna say the first one is the one that I initially even got, you know, involved. I called him I sent him several messages since this whole ordeal. No response. Yes, these are governmentally funded 501c3s we were a part of. Okay. Contacted him. Then I contacted the house manager of the location. No response. Not, and listen, wouldn't you all agree that that's a little bit unprofessional? Wouldn't you agree that, okay, if there was no foul play, if there was no personal vendetta, no personal agenda, and no personal issues involved in it, doesn't it then somehow seem a little unprofessional? Because most agencies, even if they can't do anything for you, they are going to respond to you. They're going to either call you and say, oh, we've got the voicemail. I mean, because I've had agencies do so. That's why I can say it. This is what's making things revealing about what was really going on. So where am I now? Somebody say, are you going? Well, this is what we're doing. Contributions, Zelly 951 533 2371. Zelly me, Brandy, 951 533 2371, and or send me a message if you're wanting to talk to me. This is going to be, this whole weekend is going to be a marathon. I am a mom that is going to fight to the death. To the death. To try to prevent my son from being institutionalized or from being out here with the drug addicts and all of that stuff and all these, the homeless population here, putting him through all of that. I've extended 211. So if you're somebody who wants to call me and give me, with all due respect, just you might as well not even bother. Okay? Just don't waste your energy and time. Okay? I have jumped through hoops and loops. I am 50 years old. This is Las Vegas. Okay? A lot of this stuff is designed to exasperate you, to still not help you in the end. And now you still have to find and muster up some energy to figure out what you're going to do with yourself after they done got their bureaucracy bullshit checked off on a list. So with all due respect, don't contact me with a list of referrals. What me and my son is attempting to do now is, first and foremost, to survive until the end of the month, and then from there to get a room for rent, but to possibly get that in the state of California that suits our budget. Am I planning to have more? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, I have to work with what we have to work with. So otherwise, we're gonna be continually going through the same scenario. So I'm trying to remedy that. I've been trying to remedy that. And then once I remedied it, I was trying to embetter it. I had asked the staff of the location in the state of Compton, the city of Compton, I've asked them to assist with faxing a form. And I'm saying it so plainly, bluntly, and a matter of fact, because I need it to be conveyed. I need it to be conveyed. I need that. They were all keenly aware of my circumstance and situation. I was attempting to work it to the best of my goddamn ability. And was. I went through orientations with IHSS. I had spoken with the regional center. I finally got through to that. I was trying to make the best of, in the name of, okay, let's try to increase the income so that, you know what, we're not relying on some low income housing project, or we're not, what other way can I compensate that so that at the end of the day, if I need to go get an apartment or even the studio, I would have sufficient other income backing that to make it doable. And guess what? You want to know what they did? At first, they were providing transportation for me and my son to anything that is related to rebuilding. That's something that they were doing. And out of nowhere, without warning, without proper communication, when I would reach out, as I standardly would, as had become procedure and how I was dealing with them, they ignored it. Or let's just say for fun, they had meetings for 3 days. So I attempted to go around that. Okay, they're not willing to see, and I'm saying this because people think, well, then you try to figure something else out. Exactly, and I did that. So since they, as unprofessional and out of the pocket and out of nowhere it was, I then attempted to go around it. Okay, because deadlines were coming. Everybody was dragging their ass. I wasn't the only one that was involved with the forms. So I had to communicate. You all know how this is. So I go, can you all fax this form over to IHSS? I was told they have a fax, but they can only fax inner office, like to, you know, each of the offices, that they can't fax outside of that. I never heard of nothing like that, but that's what I was told. And the actual case manager recommended the library. Now, see, why do they recommend stuff that they themselves haven't even looked into? This is, you know, these are supposed to be people that care so much. They care so much. About your stability. They care so much about helping to rebuild families. I went to the library. They knew what our situation was, but I'll go, very well. I'll go, okay. I went to the library. I was like, hey, can you fax this over? And they're like, we don't have a fax machine. I was like, oh, okay. Somebody said to come to the library. They don't fax at all. Like, they don't have a fax system. I was like, okay. And under normal circumstances, I would have just tried to find a location if I had the monies. If I had the monies to just go fax it somewhere in that moment, then that's something that I would have done normally. The point that I'm making is these programs and these systems that act like they care start actively sabotaging. That's exactly what was being done to me. When they saw that, because listen, they're casting spells, they had hired residents of the property, people in that neighborhood, across the street, and you name it. Since they started to realize, like, okay, she's aware and she knows how to address it. She knows we casting spells, nigga. She know this, you know, it's the thrill is gone. The mystery is gone. She knows. She know that, you know what I'm saying, we're using smoke as one of our main, you know, people who smoke and having them do certain things as one of our ways. She know. She know what we're doing. She know we're sending people with little buzzwords and phrases. She know all about our signal shit. She know. And she know how to handle it. So we can see this. So that's why they started withdrawing. That this is what took them there when they realized I knew how to alchemize it. I'm gonna say it again. When they realized I knew exactly what the fuck they were doing and that I knew how to address it. Then it's like, oh, okay. So oh, she not, oh, so she ain't as bothered by that no more. Oh, okay. So she ain't, you know, scared of that, whatever. Oh, okay. She know how to deal, she don't care because she know how to clear it out. This is a problem. This is the problem. She know how to ricochet these sigils. This is the problem. We need her unstable. So pull back the resources. Let's come up with, oh, we don't do that no more. Let's amplify other things so that we create this stagnation that she's not going to be able to do anything. We're going to stop and make it a problem. That's what happened. And I'm telling you, it wasn't for a lack of communication. Even the case house manager themselves, if they're even 2 cents of honest, would have to admit, if they're honest for 15 seconds, if any of them could be paid to be honest. Would have to admit, she don't lack the ability to fucking communicate. That ain't lacking. That ain't one of her weak areas. She got weak areas, but that's not one of them. She know how to call us. She know how to call all us, bitch. She know how to talk to them. She know how to communicate. That ain't the problem. She see what we don't want her to see. That's the problem. So when I realized that they were actively now sabotaging is why I even initiated looking elsewhere. I was told that me and my son would get transferred. I had put requests in. I had spoken with leadership about things that were happening to him, things that happened to him, above and beyond, above and beyond, above and beyond. I even got a letter from his psychiatrist. It's on file because I gave it to him. That was specifying reasonable accommodation within means in which they could, because the reasonable accommodation wasn't something out of their realm to do. It wasn't something that, let's say, they're not set up for. That would make sense, but switching someone to a different room, that would be better, less triggering for somebody, you know what I'm saying? Hold on. I don't recognize the number though. That's not one of the numbers that I recognize there. So that's probably not even, because I know who their numbers are. So if it was one of them, I would pick it. It's not one of them. So, but like I said, it wasn't something The things that I asked for was within, I'm trying to make a point, was all within means. I actually seen them do it for others to accommodate their situation. So it was things that was within their means to do. I asked to be transferred to even one on the same property. It was within their means to do. They didn't do that. Then I was told, I was told that, okay, maybe a different facility, since this is what's happening to you here, this has possibly been compromised, blah, blah, blah. That's what I was told by the end of June. I was told that was going to be by the end of June for sure, because they had to utilize the money in order to fulfill their contract. Okay. And I attempted to follow up in that process. And at the very end, we didn't leave until July the 1st. I had no communication, nothing. We didn't leave till July the 1st. So again, once again, proving, okay, the communication had sucked. I had given them ample plausibility and ample grace in terms of, the standard excuses that people make in these situations. Oh, heavy caseload. Oh, meetings. Oh, other. In other words, everybody is more important than my son. That within a reasonable time frame is just something that can't be done. They're that taxed. That they could not properly see through and follow through with me. For those of you who want to know how we landed here again, this was all a part of the design anyway. She's stabilizing. She wasn't supposed to stabilize in this prison. She wasn't supposed to do that in this frequency chamber here, this compression. She wasn't supposed to be able to do that. With every witch that we planted around her, walking up and down the halls, she wasn't supposed to do that. She was supposed to be scared and stay scared. And be sick and die. She was supposed to be. And we got sick. Oh yeah, immediately. Mm-hmm. And stolen from. Guess what they stole? Some of you wouldn't believe it. Guess what they stole? You wouldn't believe it. I was shocked. I'm like, out of all the things to steal, bitch. I mean, they did other stuff. They touched and tampered with and, vandalized other things, just like they have here. Tarot cards. Y'all can't see my eyes stretched because of the thermal. Tarot cards. Good, clean, wholesome Christians, right? Nefertiti around their necks, crosses around their necks, thieves. They might as well go put that shit. Listen, this is stuff. People don't like me because I'm calling the BS when there's BS. Man, that they don't like me because I can see. I am punished or tortured because I can see. And my son is tortured the same way.
Torture? I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
These sleaze bags, and you know what? I'm calling people sleaze bags according to their behavior, not according to, okay, well, you check off, you say you are Muslim, you say you're Catholic, you say you're this. That's not my vibration, that's theirs. I'm saying the things that I'm saying because their conduct, shady, slimy, scammy, shitty, low down, dirty scoundrel deals. And ain't no Nefertiti, amulet, cross, or anything else gonna fucking change it. These people talking about pray for me. Don't ask the pastor to pray for you. Involved in this community organized harassment against a fucking disabled and a single mother. What kind of spiritual people behave like that? They saw, and so they needed me to get stuck in another fake system in a more brutal environment. And the sovereigns that hear, I'm calling the question because I'm going to call them out. You lose your sovereignty when you start no longer caring. I get it. I was once upon a time somebody who, you know, you gotta be careful because you can overextend yourself. I know, I get that. You can allow your empathy and your compassion, and it can become all consuming, and next thing you know, you're drained and you are negatively impacted, and that's not serving. You shouldn't have to fall on the sword, you know, in order to be kind or be of service to somebody. But I will say, as a sovereign once said to me, oddly enough, sometimes you have to go off of your script. That's the point of being a human, and it's the point of being a sovereign, that you may have your own standard things that you got in place, but your own sovereignty, your own discernment, your own alignment, your own all those things grabs you and say, hey, this needs your attention. Now, I understand that you can allow yourself to get caught up, or those will be pulled everywhere and everybody be asking, but we're not talking about everywhere and everybody at any other time. We're talking about now. You don't know who this is. This person may end up, this person could have possibly been a significant role beyond your imagination. And the fact that you're non-existent, but then want them to listen to you, this is the problem that I have with sovereigns. We want to give people cute sayings, compliments, if that, dry and empty, if that, on a social media platform, if that, while we suck up all their attention and admiration that they're giving to us. Then we want to scold them and warn them about what not to do and what not to be a part of. Niggas, where y'all at, nigga? Uh-oh, come back. Let's get back to the first one. I'm just saying, because people always want to be telling you what it's okay, nigga, where you at? Don't just tell us. Don't just tell us, oh, you shouldn't, AI, you're going to end up turning into a cyborg and, AI, be careful. Okay. If you know that the isolation protocol is real because you yourself have undergone the isolation protocol, if you're a sovereign, and to tell the sovereigns that they need community, well, when they try to get community, then they're met with the sovereigns want you to pay $100 to have a 5-minute conversation. They want you to pay for a psychic service. But what happened to this whole building community? Where is this building of community at is what I want someone to answer me. Where is that at? Where do you locate that outside of paying $1 million for it? I will be on social media all weekend because it's a marathon. Again, Zelly me 951-533-2371. You can Zelly me. Every little bit counts. It is much honored. It'll be much honored. I tell you what, $5, $10, $20, $15. If 10 people gave $10, that's $100 right there. Okay. We are attempting to fundraise $500 by Sunday at midnight. Okay. 500 US, 500 US. See, and somebody's gonna say, what is this? This is so that we can pay for another week in our weekly and have a little bit change over to get some toiletries and soap and stuff like that. Okay, because it doesn't cost $500 for the weekly, but that's our goal so that we can pay for. We're starting small. We need more than that, but I'm gonna aim there. Okay. If 10 people gave 100, if 10 people gave 20, every little bit counts if you're guided. Okay, I'm going to keep saying that. Zelly is the most secure form. You have to have legitimate banks, and so that should bring comfort. This is not something you can just go get at 7-Eleven. Okay.
Something else other than the drink.
You have to have a legitimate bank account to even be going through that portal. So, I wish I had another means right now. Right now, it has to be Zelle or cash. Zelly me 951-533-2371 in the name of my adult disabled son and myself, trying to stay afloat while we figure our way through this cesspool, this trap that was set for us. Okay. We have already been assaulted. We have already been assaulted here. Yep. We had to go to the hospital. He checked out his stuff is still a little high, but at everything, we're okay. Okay. But I'm just saying, he has hypertension. He's been traumatized, and this environment, there's so much I would love to do with him, but these people have lost all their marbles. They've lost their marbles. I take him out, and every lowlife that's within our vicinity is swarming us. Doing their spells that they pretend to not be doing because it looks like regular behavior. So many of us don't even know we've had so much cast on us because it's not looking the way you thought it would look. You didn't see a witch with a witch's mole and a black hat. But what you didn't know, that many of these witches are walking around doing this. And you just don't know. While you're talking to them thinking you're engaging, they're secretly dropping stuff. See, these are the things that the world is not ready to know, and I get that. But they always seem to appear. When I go live, I'll tell you, it'd be like Crenshaw on a Friday night, no matter where I'm at. A place could be essentially a fucking ghost town. But when I arrive, within moments, all of a sudden, you would think it was a shooting, and you would just think all kinds of stuff. The way activity just, for whatever reason, no matter the day of the week and the hour of the day, for whatever reason, even if it's in an area that's not that popular, for whatever reason, it starts to get amplified. They get the itchy hands. So I'm telling you, they've already alerted the people on this property. That's why they're walking up and down these stairs. And it ain't even, and just for the record, where we're located, on the side that we're located, we're at the corner. There's two other units that I think are still empty, and then where the staircases are. So people are intentionally just walking way down this way and don't really need to. Because there's like staircases, throughout the whole place that's close to each, like I want to say maybe each building, each so many. Yes. This is what's happening. For those of you that this is hard to swallow, I get that too. So for you all, we keep it simple for you. I'm a single mama trying to do the best that I can do under the circumstances of what I'm dealing with. Okay? I'm not looking for a violin. That's not the story. But I'm looking for, or aligning to, or giving intention, whatever verbiage you want to call it, to align with people who still have their humanity cut on, people that does not have an agenda. You are a just and fair person. You care, and you know that at the end of the day, my son haven't done nothing to any of these people. The people who don't like the fact that I speak these truths. I'm talking about my relatives that have done me and my son shitty. I'm talking about all the people that they're involved with. Okay, selling us. So that's what this stuff is. They're selling out for them and theirs. They don't care if my son died today. These people don't care nothing about my son. The place that we left, they don't care nothing about him either. Now, what does that say? I'm putting that question out to the Americas and anywhere else. What does that really say? What does that say about all of these people, all of these programs, all of these Christians? What does that say? Again, and I'm not talking about people out here that they don't have anything they can do. I'm talking about people who could help if they wanted to help. They don't care. They don't care. They look at his life as insignificant. Yeah, some of the people you all have on pedestals today that's preaching you sermons from over pulpits. I reached out to a former pastor of mine that was my pastor for 12 years. What does that say? As a sovereign told me, because I told the sovereign about it. They said, They said, and you got what? Nothing. Not an ounce of compassion, empathy, a bus ticket, a plane ticket. You got a link to a church. What does that say about the world that we're really in? She said he worried about building his empire. He ain't worried. That's what she said. Because true humanitarianism, philanthropy, all that stuff requires action, whether or not they are a member of your church. Whether or not they're a member of your church, whether or not they're a member of your religion. Just like I extended to him. When I reached out to him, I sent, because I didn't know, and I didn't know about the passing of his wife. I found out late, and no matter what the differences were and how that ended, that's not something that I would have wished or spoken over anybody. What had happened to her. And that's because my humanity is turned on. I didn't need them or need her to have been what I am or agreed with me for me to have any kind of sense of. And so when I reached out to him, the first thing I did was my condolences about that, because it was heartbreaking for me, period. Even no matter what the history had happened, it was still heartbreaking for me. It was heartbreaking for me to find out what had happened to her. Okay, I wouldn't have wished nothing like that on nobody. It happened to her as she was trying to help and protect her own baby. Her being a mama. And I wouldn't have wished that. And I wouldn't have used some kind of a spiritual soapbox, as an opportunity. Like, what kind of nutbag would do something like that? What kind of nut job sits up on their fat asses thinking that that's appropriate? She was a woman. She was a mother. Dumbasses. She was a mother trying to protect her daughter. At the end of the day, that's what she was in that moment. To hell with all that other shit. She was a mother. She was a woman, and she was a mother. Doing what some of these mamas need to be arrested for not doing. She was a mother, like, what the hell, trying to stop tragedy. She stopped some form of tragedy, but it was at the expense of her life. And maybe it'll take me a while to get over that. But I extended my condolences, even though he don't even seem, he surely true humanitarianism and philanthropic energy does not require the receiver to be their same religion, creed, ethnicity, belief, gender, socioeconomic background. That's when it's its most purest form. Anything else is nothing but glorified gangs. Because in a gang, in order to get your support in a gang, you have to be a part of their crew and their clique, their posse. So Zelly me, if you want to talk to me, that's the same number. If you're interested in a service because you know you've got proof and you know that some of the things that I've said is truth and you're wanting to get, likewise, same number, 951-533-2371. The requirement is that you're respectful, truthful, and honest. Identify yourself, and I am willing to talk. But this is a marathon. My main goal is raising money. Okay. I got stuff here that I'm selling. I've already attempted to exasperate myself to connect with so-called resources, and I haven't gotten anywhere. I've walked in circles, me and my son up and down this street. I've called places, I've gone places, buses have passed me by. I've played this little circus game. And it's to no avail. So, you know, I'm doing what I can do. If you want a reading, I can do a reading. If, you know, you want to ask me some questions about what happened, as long as it's not interrogatory, you know, you're not trying to interrogate me, or you're not just trying to pull information like out of sincerity. Why I disconnected from my family, the truth, what actually took place, why we're here, why this stuff keeps happening. Okay. But at the end of the day, know that time is of the essence. So I don't have hours to spend talking to people who don't want to help me and my son, when I could be talking to somebody who wants to help me and my son, or support me and my son, or contribute. Time is of the essence. Okay. Stay tuned, all the social media platforms. It'll be here. It'll be possibly Facebook, TikTok. It's going to be all weekend. We are fundraising for $500 by
$800
by midnight of Sunday, this Sunday at midnight, which technically will be Monday. So you can say Sunday, 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, Zelly is the way. If you're in the Las Vegas, Nevada area, then, you know, you can meet up with me. It can be cash. Okay, but 951-533-2371. Again, the number is 951-533-2371. And these people are casting. I can sense all the energy intrusions. I'm going to address it once I get off of here. This is what's been going on. So all the stuff that I thought for so very long and for years, it was spell work. It had nothing to do with my son's disability. It had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me being on this wrong path. It was all parasitic energy, spell work. And most of it came from people who claim to care and love us.